This podcast is brought to you by the School of Advanced Study, University of London. All of our podcasts are available from our website, www.sas.ac.uk.
So, as I alluded during my presentation, we now have the opportunity to talk to some alumni who have studied here. And I think, this is really, really useful. Some of the things that we talked about in the workshop, which is to try and focus on the impact postgraduate study had on my colleagues here's careers. So what I would say is listen to their career journey, but also use the luxury of the knowledge and expertise here to try and ask as many questions as possible. Now what we will do in terms of a structure is we will go around the table. I will ask each of our panelists to just introduce themselves, say who you are, where you work, and then what we will do is we will start with Kate here, who will just talk a little bit about herself. There will be an opportunity to ask a few questions, and then we'll move down the panel. Is that all right? Fabby, so if you could just say a very brief hello, that would be lovely.
Hi, my name is Dr. Kate Bradley. I'm a lecturer in social history and social policy at the University of Kent.
Fantastic, thank you, Kate.
Hi, I'm Mark Jakeman. I'm the Company Secretary for Great Gas Petroleum Ireland in the SC US Foreign Policy Institute.
Fantastic, thank you.
I'm John Woods. I'm the Senior Manager in KPMG, working in the legislative tax practice there. I did an MA in tax here this year.
Fantastic, and last but not least?
My name is Rachael Arning, and I work in-house in the Group Tax Department at Citigroup. I'm a tax counsel there, qualified lawyer, and I did an MA in international tax and the Institute of Advanced Studies.
Fantastic, thank you so much. So Kate, if we start with you, if that's all right?
Sure. I did my PhD here in the Institute of Historical Research between 2002 and 2006 with a Leverhulme Trust studentship. Prior to that, I'd done my undergraduate and MA at Goldsmiths College, University of London, and then had taken about 18 months out to work in a secondary school in East London. I was also working part-time as an archivist and decided what I really wanted to do was go back and do some archive research rather than helping other people do historical research themselves. During my time here in the School of Advanced Study, I had an amazing time. I really, really enjoyed doing my PhD at somewhere like the IHR, largely because of the community it forwarded. There were seminars happening every evening on a wide range of subjects. I got to meet lots of other researchers, from PhD students through to the top names in the field, to hear what they had to say about their research and also to talk to them informally afterwards. So that was amazing. Along with the research training opportunities that were around as well, the research training that the school offers and also what the Institute offered as well. I also had the opportunity to set up a network of postgraduate historians, which is now coming into its 7th year and still going strong. So it's going to be good to see that carrying on. I finished my PhD in October 2005 and took my Viva in March 2006. After that, I had a couple of visiting lectureships at the Universities of Roehampton, Westminster, Kent and Hertfordshire, so I was going to part-time those at different times, not all at the same time, whilst also continuing to work part-time as an archivist. In 2007, I got an ESRC postdoctoral fellowship, which enabled me to turn my PhD thesis into a book and to spend some time working on publications. I then joined the University of Kent in October 2007, having said goodbye to students at the Easter when I went to take up the postdoc. In the meantime, a job had come up at Kent in my field, and so I said hello to them again that September, and I've been there since. My PhD at the School of Advanced Study kind of equips me for my current role. In terms of, it gave me the foundation to research and the knowledge, but also it gave me the confidence to network with people, to find out what's going on in my field, to keep abreast of things. And also, from that confidence, I went to my current post with a great network of contacts across the field of social history. Very useful now that I'm reviews editor of one of the major journals was in my field, and also involved in things like organising conferences as well. So it's a very, very useful thing to have. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wow, what an interesting sort of group. Brilliant. Right, so over to you guys. Do we have any questions? I love how you're all avoiding eye contact as if I would pick on you for looking at me. I guess, Kate, one of the questions that I had is a number of attendees today may well be thinking about whether sort of doing postgraduate studies is indeed right for them, and whether actually this institution is indeed right. What advice would you give them, or what would you have wanted to know if you lived in this situation?
I think the institutes, well, any of the institutes, I'm thinking particularly of the IHR, are great for doing PhDs in, for the simple reason that you have amazing access to not only research training, but also, as I suggested, to kind of people who are working in all manner of areas of research. I mean, I know the IHR's got a major seminar program, that's true of institutes as well. But you're also smack on the doorstep of the British Library, certainly in my field, lots of archives in central London as well. Also the library upstairs, of course. So in that sense, you're really well prepared. The only thing the IHR institutes don't have is undergraduate teaching. So when I was in the final year of my PhD, I had to find undergraduate teaching elsewhere. I went and worked as a visiting lecturer at Royal Holloway. Now, I think that's a real strength of studying here, in the sense that I got to go and work in an institute that I hadn't studied in, wasn't currently studying in, and so again, it kind of broadened out my networks and gave me experience of another institution. And particularly having been successful in becoming a lecturer, being able to demonstrate as an early career researcher that I've got a breadth of experience of teaching in different environments was a real strength actually. So it meant that I taught different levels, different kinds of students, and that added something to my CV. It wasn't as though I'd done my BA, MA, PhD in the same place and just taught there. I got a body of...
You had that diversity. Absolutely. Kate, you've mentioned networking a few times now, and kind of you've alluded to not only the opportunity to network that the Institute provided, but also the value in the day-to-day work.
Yeah.
Would you sort of elaborate on that a little bit more? Because I think that really should be an important consideration for students.
Yeah. I think when people are starting out with a PhD, you tend to think it'll be just you in the archive or you doing your field work. To a point, that's true. That no one else can go and do the field work or the archive work but you. But it's really important that you have a dialogue with other people, that you have networks of people that you can draw on. So that could be people who might informally review your work, who might want to invite you to come and speak to them, or you want them to come and speak to, say, your seminar or a group of students. But equally to kind of get peer review from people. They might look at your work and say, give you some critical advice on it. In turn, that's one way of finding external examiners for PhDs and the like. But also, it's about making contact with people who are in the same situation as you as well, and so that you can have, in the case of history, I mean, I'm at the very contemporary end of the scale, so I work on people who are still alive and who can argue back with you, which is quite entertaining in some ways. But then it's still useful to talk to people who might be working on ancient history, which is as far removed as you can get in time. We'll still have the same issues around how we go about our work, how we communicate it, this, that and the other. So that's very important, and keeping yourself sane way that you have other people that you can actually contact.
Thank you. I guess one of the things just to build on what Kate has been saying is there was some research in The Guardian on Saturday. They produced a graduate supplement. And one of the things that they emphasised was the importance of having established networks or access to networks to support your job hunting. Certainly, in times of economic downturn, that seems to be one of the key ways that people identify roles. And I think from what Kate said, there is an opportunity to build and tap into what is quite a strong network, then that's a really useful consideration for you guys for the long term.
Yeah, I guess I'm poster boy for the what might euphemistically called the more mature student. I came back to academic study after more than 30 years in business and commerce. Over 20 years in various branches of the telecommunications industry, and then running a group of small and medium enterprises in the Republic of Ireland. And after doing all of that, I decided that I wanted to take a career break and to come back to academic study. Purely, really, for my own personal interest. I did an MSc in US foreign policy, which, short of applying to be US Secretary of State, there was probably not many job opportunities as such in the commercial world for that. But it was done for purely my own satisfaction. And I have to admit that I was quite nervous, having been away from the academic world for such a long time, as to how I would be received and whether or not I would be able to make that change from what you might call the immediacy of the commercial world, where the decision cycles are generally less than 24 hours, to a situation where you've actually got weeks to think about a particular essay, as opposed to taking this to put together a PowerPoint presentation, which is the sort of word I was used to. So it's quite a big change, and I was quite nervous about whether or not I would be able to do that. But I have to say that the support and encouragement of the people who were here, the staff who were here, not just the academic staff, but the support staff as well, was tremendous. And the specialist training we had in research methods as part of the MSc was a whole new field for me. Excellent, and really helped me tremendously in getting into the degree. And within literally a couple of weeks, I'd forgotten I was 3 times the age of everyone else on the course, and I was pretending I knew what Facebook was and things like that. So, but on a serious point, it was easy to. They made it very easy for me to get into the subject. It was tremendously stimulating when I got in. It was actually a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be intellectually. For some reason I thought it would be, and it would be hard, but I didn't realise quite how challenging it would be and how demanding it would be. And the fact that, you can't really, to use a technical term, bullshit your way through it, as you can often in the world of commerce, if you like. So it was a much more intellectually rigorous atmosphere, but I felt fully supported. And it was an exercise that I would thoroughly recommend anyone in my position returning to the world of intellectual endeavour after a career in a commercial environment. I would absolutely recommend coming to the School of Advanced Study. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. In fact, my next step now, I'm so encouraged that I'm now going on to do a PhD.
Fantastic. Excellent.
Thank you.
Great. Any questions for Mark? Yes.
Were you thinking of doing a PhD before you did your MSc? Or was it, and if it was, when you were thinking of it, you asked to do the MSc before they had one to do it?
I absolutely was not thinking about doing a PhD. I thought when I started, I thought I just want to do this out of interest, and I'll be happy if I just get a pass. And I had no thought about doing anything else at all. And then when I got into it, through this encouragement and support, I realised I could be better than I thought I could be. But at that stage, I still didn't think I was good enough to do a PhD. And it wasn't until right towards the end that I was taken to the side by one of the senior academics here and he said to me, hey, I think the standard of your work is such that if you wanted to think about doing a PhD, I'd be happy to support you. And at that stage, it was like a light going on, and I thought, good grief, I didn't realise I would ever be at that stage. So I went to and thought about it, and I'm now applying. So the answer is I had no intention of doing it at the beginning, but it was through the development and growth, if you like, and experience of doing the masters that I realised I could if I wish to go on to do more, and that's what I'm hoping to do.
That's very, very encouraging. Good experience. Any other questions?
Yeah, following on generally, at the minute I am agonising between continuing to do a Master's MA in history, probably early modern history, or something in the Institute of Historical Research. But the line of me, I can't decide which. And I regret for any faults that might fall from your collective wisdom.
So the question we have is around kind of choosing between two options. Anyone would like to kind of maybe tell us of ideas that might aid the decision?
Was the first option again?
An ordinary Master of Arts in history, probably medieval history, because I speak French and Italian quite well. And something in the Institute of Historical Research, because I also quite enjoy pure jogging around, researching obscure things. But like me, I can't exactly choose which. I'm just wondering if there might be some pearls of wisdom that might be flung my way.
It's tricky, but I'm not, I mean, having been at Kent for the last few years, I'm not totally up to date on what the IHR MA offering is. Is it an MA in historical research?
So far as I understand.
Okay.
As far as I understand, yes.
Well, I presume then at the end you would choose a topic as a dissertation that you would research.
Yes, so I gather.
I think my general advice to anyone who's kind of thinking you've got an interest in an MA in a specific time period, which again will also result in a dissertation. This is a fairly standard thing. The historical research MA will also be rewarding insofar as you'll be focusing particularly on the historical research side of things. And you'll have probably a lot more, and they have got early modernists and medievalists at the IHR that they can call on. So there's that side of it as well, you wouldn't miss out so much. I suppose it comes down to a decision you have to think about what you would be happiest studying for a year or 2 years. Whether you really want to go deep into those time periods and to really kind of explore that, or whether you're interested in honing your skills. So, well, I say this having been an undergraduate admissions officer as well, you have to think about, well, what would I really be happiest doing if you're up at 2 AM writing an essay that is being quite stubborn and finishing itself, which subject would you like to be doing it in? You will get a degree of research training on the MAs in medieval, early modern history, because most MAs tend to have that. So it comes down to which one do you feel more intellectually stimulated by? Which one would make you want to get up on a Saturday morning and go to the library to work on? So it's one of those decisions. I think if you wanted to go on to do a PhD, either is a great route. In fact, they're both suitable routes. But again, it's what I'd go with, which one you kind of feel more intellectually excited by.
Also, I mean, who do you know who would actually be your sort of supervisor or tutor on the two courses? And have you met them? Do you
at the minute, I suspect that probably if it was the early modern history side, I should suspect possibly Professor Swan might be in the field.
So, I mean, I think that it's, as far as I'm concerned, whatever I'm doing, whether it's studying, working, going out to a party or whatever, it's all about the people at the end of the day. I think that's the most important thing, actually. Subject matter is, I know this might be something about academic subjects, say, tax, history, whatever it is, doesn't matter. But I do actually think that if, it's the person that's teaching you and inspiring you, that's probably, I would say that's quite a big factor. So if you,
Yeah.
you know, if I had a choice between two courses, and you know, I would try and, if you can, try and either read something they've written or try and meet them, see what their style is, how hands-on they're going to be, because ultimately I think that's going to really affect how motivated you are, how hard you work. And I think I would go with that personally.
Yes, my instinct teachers need to go that way, actually.
Yeah.
And in which case the answer would be the early on history would, I think, be the way forward. I'm most grateful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Really, really useful advice. Thank you so much. Just being mindful of time, so John, want to say a little bit?
Sure. I can see the people fleeing the room at the moment. So I came to the MA in text, having worked at KPMG for a few years, and I guess I was sort of looking for two things from it. First, obviously, it's the field that I work in. It's quite a technical field, and frankly, the more that you know about it, the quicker you're going to progress. So I undoubtedly wanted it to progress my career, and it did, and I can give you good examples of how it's done that. But I also wanted to have a stimulating environment where there would be other people interested in the same things. And it delivered on both of those quite a lot. I think, as Rachel says, the people are absolutely crucial. And when I was researching which course I should go on, I did go and have a look at all the people that I would be studying under and what their reputation was like in the field. The MA in tax is very, very strong on the international front. I mean, Rachael described it as an MA in international tax. There is domestic tax. I mean, I imagine most of you aren't doing tax, but effectively we have a distinction between things that are wholly within the UK and things that go...
I was a lawyer for many years.
Oh, fantastic.
I couldn't stomach any more tax.
We'll just have the first part of that sentence. Philip Baker, who's actually sitting over there, and I'll embarrass him by pointing at him, is the leading counsel in the UK on international tax matters. There are a number of other extremely well-qualified practitioners who teach on the MA, so it's very practice-oriented, which is good because it means that you get a blend of the theory with actually, what this means in your sort of everyday role. So I had the opportunity to meet a number of people, including Dave Hartnett, for example, who talked to us about the ethics of tax avoidance. And you might have seen him in the press recently with the whole debacle about the Goldman's settlement. So the people were absolutely crucial, and I was very impressed by the quality of the lecturers. Second, the facilities are very good. The Institute of Advanced Legal Services just over there is absolutely horrible building to look at, but inside you have a really world-class tax library. And obviously, as you can imagine, being part of the University of London, there are reciprocal arrangements with other bits of the university, so you can get to, you have very good resources at hand. And then the third selling point was simply that it's an extremely flexible course. So I was studying part-time while working full-time, and I was able to fit my studying commitments around my work commitments, which was, for me, very important. So I found it really, very useful indeed. In terms of what it's meant professionally, obviously, I've benefited immensely from what I've learned at work. And we were talking about networking earlier. Two of the people who were in my peer group have got jobs through contacts they met on the MA. So, it definitely helps to know people who are going to be working late and want to work.
Thank you. I must confess, in reply, I think if I was working at 2:30 in the morning, I'd prefer to translate French, piece of French, early French prose than some dry dust research text. Anyway, thank you.
Clearly, the point about pursuing the passion or getting up at 2 in the morning is very much a consideration. Thank you, Joel. Any other questions at all?
Yes. Do you work in whether it was graduate economy or whether you have access to degrees or SOAS?
probably not the best place to answer this. I mean, I can speak for the MA in tax, that is, where, I mean, well, Rachael and I studied together, and we're still in touch, and I'm still in touch with a number of people there, and you know, obviously you get a good social life with the people who are on your course, and I imagine that's the same for anything that you do here. I think you do also get access to wider University of London social events and student unions. I don't know whether you are an international student or whether you are based in the EU. I think, for example, if you there are certain halls of residence that you might stay in where you have access, obviously, to a large social community there as well. So we had a Portuguese chap, for example, who lived over in the sort of international house here, and they seem to have a lot of social stuff going on there.
So to build on what John said, I think the location is so important. And I think you are in university land, so you will come across a lot of like-minded people. But just access to go to the University of London building, for example, have access to gyms and swimming pools, and there's a bar there and so on. And that will definitely allow you to kind of not only engage with students on your existing course, but also other courses as well. And the location really kind of enables you to do that. Good question, really important question.
Just to add quickly, if you're on a PhD program, you'll find that there are often things like postgraduate seminars that happen every fortnight or so. And they tend to be, well, you will have the intellectual bits, where people give papers and you talk about them. But then there will be social events afterwards. And quite often they will be students from your institute, but also other ones as well. So you get to meet not only from other University of London colleges and institutes, but often from across the UK as well. And yes, you can use things like Senate House, but the University of the Union and all the other places. It's quite a good student hub.
Thank you. Very important question, if you're going to be in a phase. Last but not least, Rachael.
Always introduce last but not least.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Well, I mean, I reiterate everything that Joel said. I mean, I came to the MA. I actually come from a slightly different background to Joel in that I'm a lawyer, a tax lawyer, and I'd worked in law firms sort of up until a certain point, and I got to a point in my career where I wasn't sort of really going to progress any further unless I sort of got some different experience. And I started on the MA, which really kind of, I'd say, just opened up a whole new sort of suite of opportunities for me, because up until that point my practice sort of area had been very UK-centric, and the MA kind of opened up the whole world of international tax and various other jurisdictions, and gave me the confidence to really go and work in sort of much larger organisations. So I'd really say that off the back of being on the MA, I sort of interviewed at Deloitte and got to Deloitte, and then through after a year and a half at Deloitte, I then was headhunted to go and work in Citigroup, and I'm now 6 months into sort of a tax council role in Citigroup, really enjoying it. A lot more responsibility there, really working on a lot of cross-border issues, liaising with the US a lot, with lots of different jurisdictions. There's just absolutely no way in the world, had I not done the MA, that I would have had the opportunities to have the job that I've got now, had I not done that course of study. And I think it kind of, I mean, obviously Joe and I sort of, we work in very commercial environments. You might sort of think, well, what has doing a sort of academic course got to do with it? But certainly law generally, it really helps to sort of have the academic backup. It really helps when you're dealing with counsel, and I have to liaise with a lot of law firms and sort of and some sort of tax counsel in my job, and to know that I have got that solid sort of academic backup, and that I sort of understand the issues from a purely academic perspective when I'm dealing with people on the other end of the phone, does give you a lot of confidence to go forward. And if, as I say, if I hadn't done the MA, I wouldn't sort of be able to sort of deal on the level that I'm dealing with now. So I don't think I'm going to go into as much specific detail as John did about various facilities and stuff, but just to say in terms of my confidence, it's really helped me a lot.
Great. Any questions for Rachel?
Anyone take tax?
So
I just wanted to know, do you want to do an MA full-time or part-time? Just wanted to know if you had any opinions on whether you felt you had, more time to do part-time or if you wished to go different methods.
Well, we start with you first, Rachel.
I'm quite a good person to ask, actually, because I started off the course full-time. I did a year full-time, and then I got my job at Deloitte, so then I commuted the rest of the course to part-time. And I always look at the guys doing it part-time, like Joel and I overlap by 1 year, and think, how on earth do those guys manage a full-time job and to do their coursework at the same time? So I just felt I was really, really busy just doing it full-time. Then when I started working, I was doing the course part-time, you're just much more efficient with your time. So actually, if you're motivated, I think, and that goes back to the point I was saying earlier, I think you've really got to enjoy the subject you're studying, and you've got to also be taught by people who motivate you, and hopefully be in a supportive atmosphere with other students who support you, and your support network within the students is really cool. If you've got those things, you'll cope, you will do it. And I actually found that I did just manage. I mean, it wasn't, I have to admit, there were some months where I don't ever care to have again, when I was working much too hard, but you do it, and you're much more efficient with your time, and you get more done. So either works. If you've got the luxury, I suppose, of doing it for full time, obviously that's great. But if you need to work to support yourself, it's doable too.
That was on the panel.
Well, I did mine full time,
Great.
and I would say to anyone anticipating full time is what it says, full time. It's not. It's not a couple of mornings a week. It's actually, I would say, being honest, 4 full days a week of study. I mean, 9 in the morning to 5 at night. With a short lunch break. It's not, just drift in and drift out. You're spending time in the library. It's a huge amount of reading. The subject, such as the one I did, which was US foreign policy. I mean, there is so much reading to do to get into the subject. And as I stressed, the teaching methodology is that you have to deliver a seminar 3 or 4 times a term in a specific subject, and you have to do all of the research for that. You have to present it, and then it's critiqued by your lecturer and the rest of the class. And the first time you do that, and you get all the questions that you can't answer, you don't ever do it again. You make sure you've done all the work, and that takes a lot of reading, a lot of studying, and then you've got the essays, and then you've got the dissertation on top of that. So it really, it's a full time. They mean full time. If you really cut, if you don't think it's like when 35 years ago when I did my undergraduate degree, it was a dog by comparison. This was nothing like it. This was a full time commitment, and so it's tough.
But just kind of build on what these guys are saying, one of the feedback that we get from employers is that students with postgraduate qualifications generally have well-rounded transferable skills, because you have to become a master at kind of project management, juggling multiple priorities and so on. So actually, it's great learning, not only whilst you are studying, but it's a fantastic asset to carry across into the job market, because it's a great sort of selling point to potential. Any kind of final thoughts or questions before we perhaps wrap up? Yes.
Just ask you about the network of the historical faculty in
It's open to history, MAs, PhDs at any university in the UK. Also, visiting academics are able to join in as well. There's also an early career network, so welcomes everyone from MA students through to people who are even in first couple of years of lectureships. You get a whole range of people, all kind of disciplines. Any similar ones can join. There should be a link to it off the Institute of Historical Research webpage. It's called History Lab. And yeah, it's free to join. You can go along to their events and see what's happening. They do a mixture of things from training in kind of key skills for history students through to kind of seminars and conferences, but also just social events as well. It's a good way to go meet people. If you're interested in a MA or PhD in history, it's worth kind of finding out what events they're doing. Going on, just talking to people and getting a sense of what they're interested in, what advice they might have for you as well.
Thank you. So just sort of finally, you know, please sort of take the time to talk to members of the panel or a class of foreigners students. But really, you know, the kind of the themes that I've spotted from our panelists is kind of the need to have the right support structure. And I really get the sense that, you know, everyone on this panel really felt supported during their time here. And I think that's an important consideration when you are going through the intensity of a master's course. You know, are there going to be people that you can lean on for support? But secondly, you know, one of the other themes that I picked up on is the impact the postgraduate study or the PhD has had on individual kind of careers. And I think this is a constant debate, you know, is there any value to postgraduate study? And, you know, I feel very confident from the panelists here that actually there has been a direct impact on their careers. So it's really worth sort of bearing that in mind. And I guess the third thing is around sort of the network and the facilities and the environment and so on. That goes a long way towards enabling you to study to the best of your ability. So, you know, just do take some of these points away and bear them in mind in terms of your consideration whether you wish to go and study with us. But if you could just join me in thanking our panel for their time. So.